Hello, Projector friends. I wanted to come in today and talk about the physical connection, the connection to our physical. I feel like this is a really important piece for projectors in that we need to have a very healthy and deep connection to our physical. It keeps us grounded. It keeps us sort of in touch with our health and well-being. And I know you can say that for all human beings, but for projectors, I feel like it really is a pathway to being that most clear and present channel. The other piece of this is the importance of maintaining our physical health so that we can be creative and that we can do the work here that we are meant to do and to be doing. And when we are taking care of our physical self, including our nervous system, we just vibrate at a different frequency. And this is what people are going to be drawn to. And it's also what's going to allow you to be the most full version of yourself. And we know that projectors thrive on that. We know that we have spent a lot of time, because of conditioning and because of not knowing any different. Now, we don't want to go and be hard on ourselves and look for all the ways that we could have done things differently, but it's the awareness that, if you know how you feel when like you don't sleep well, when you have too many, stimulants like coffee or whatever that might be, when you're eating unhealthy foods or you're eating foods that disagree with you, and you just have this awareness of how much that takes you out of the moment. And we're not meant to just push through those signals. We're not meant to override what our body is telling us. It's it's part of our purpose to walk through this life really being in the body. And this can be challenging because it can be very easy for us to be in our clear seeing and to be in the more ethereal space, the liminal space of being connected to spirit, of being connected to source creator. And sometimes that maybe feels easier than, doing our maintenance and taking care of our body and saying no to things that we kind of wish that we had the energy to do. And because we're not self-perpetuating, creating our own energy, it's really important for us to kind of ration our energy and be very, very mindful about how we expend our energy and careful to, maintain where you're leaking energy, where you're just kind of like I wasting energy. And if you're to say that to somebody else, they might say, well, nothing is a waste of time, or it's all for the greater good. But I think projectors in particular know that we we waste our precious energy in the sense that if we are using our energy for something over here, then when we desire to be doing the thing over here, and we've used up the energy over there, we can't just go click and just switch gears and just continue over there. We have to then go back into restorative activities, rest, kind of go to our neutral corner, so to speak. and then we can pivot and then we can engage and continue on. So when I say like waste of energy, for lack of a better word, truly, is that we we don't want to be taking that time essentially to use our energy the way that we know isn't going to serve us. And then we're going, because then it can lead to bitterness, then it can lead to resentment and overall fatigue. And then that can lead into not feeling good in the body, not feeling healthy, not feeling fresh, not feeling clear. And I feel like anything that takes away clarity from a projector is like kryptonite. It is, it's soul crushing for us to not feel that clarity that we experience when we're in alignment, when we're having that direct connection to source and we're working through our clear seeing. It gives us life. It gives us purpose. And I would say that it is the closest thing to saying that it gives us energy, because there's something that happens when you're in that alignment of being a clear and present channel, that you feel connected to that limitlessness. You feel connected to source, and you know that source is so expansive. You know that there is no end. It's infinite. Literally, it's infinite. And so we're very much aware that when we are connected to source, we are connected to that infinite energy. And so when you have life experiences that take you out of that flow, you feel very discombobulated. You feel off. And then you start kind of looking for other ways to, sometimes it's even just finding other ways to make yourself feel something. You're like, I just want to feel something. And so you might do something that you know isn't great for you. You might have that extra coffee. You might eat that food that makes you feel crummy later. You just it dysregulates your relationship with your body and dysregulates your nervous system. And your nervous system, like for your nervous system, it's enough for you to just live your life, like just the day-to-day things of being human. And when you sort of cross that threshold into depletion, it takes you time to rebuild. And so if you're always kind of moving into depletion, but you're not rebuilding as fast as you're depleting, it starts to take its toll. And you start to, like, I refer to it as like feel nervy. It's like a feeling of like your nerves are exposed. You feel like the world is just like you're not a match. And I think that this is something that can really lead to health issues, because it's like it's taking us away, it's taking us out of our homeostasis, it's taking us out of that place where we can just be present, where we can just be ourselves. And that is something that we desire, but it's also something that we need. Like it's not a black and white thing, because there's always an ebb and flow and there's so many variables in being human. But truly, if you are not feeling well in the physical, the way that you desire to live your life as a projector is just so inhibited that it has to be a priority for you to be taking care of yourself in the physical, because nothing else will ever be able to feel as good as it would if you were in alignment. And it's not to say that you won't have pleasure. It's not to say that you won't be able to function and you won't be able to live, but it'll always inhibit you from living in your alignment. If you have physical things going on, whether they're manifested from imbalance or they're manifested from years of conditioning, or you just have something going on in this stage of your life, like whatever that is, it has to be a high priority for you to keep tweaking, keep working on it, keep being aware of it is a huge piece of it. Because if we're doing this and we're oppressing and we're getting the signals and we're not listening to the body, then we're going to get further and further and further away from our alignment, essentially. And this is not about perfection. It's not about attaining. And I'm guilty of this because, I used to tease myself in a sense and call myself like the impatient yogi because I'm like, well, I can reach this level of attunement, if you will, in my body and my energy and my emotional self and my spiritual self and my mental self. And then I can just, essentially be enlightened. And it's very humbling when you realize that yes, you can achieve this nirvana. You can achieve this magnetic flow that happens, this frequency, and also you can be in the human and have some real problems going on, and that's okay. But for projectors, that's tricky because we think, oh, well, this feels so good over here. I just want that. And I don't really want to have to deal with like the hard stuff because like I'm connected to source. Like just let me be. And so I think sometimes this is just kind of a side note here is that I do feel like sometimes projectors can be a bit shy about or apprehensive about not really wanting to put themselves out there because they don't want their energy to be exploited. They don't want their energy to be taken advantage of. They don't want to just give it away, and this could be interpreted as egotistical if, people aren't aware of where we're coming from. But it's literally like our presence has value. Our presence has value and we know it and we experience it and then we kind of talk ourselves out of it because we think, oh, well, everybody has value and everybody has something to offer. And yes, that's all true. And also, when you show up as a projector, your presence is your thing, you know? And I know for myself, this has taken me a minute to wrap my head around for sure, because I could see it, I could understand it, I could feel it, but then to really let myself like fully show up as myself, like that takes more confidence, that takes more courage. Because again, especially as projectors, we find these ways to pull back and to protect ourselves. So just bringing it back around here to, this is the thing is that because projectors' priority is being connected to source, the the depth of your knowing and the clarity of your knowing is real. And so if you are managing your body, and it's not you're managing it from the outside, you're obviously you're managing it from the inside. We need to be listening. We need to be paying attention to the cues that we're getting, to the information that is always being communicated to us. And then walking the talk. It's different than just saying like, "Oh, I know," and then not doing it. So it's knowing, it's listening, it's knowing, and then it's taking action. So yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, this is a big topic for projectors, so I'm sure I will speak on it again.